And we're rolling. What's up, guys? Welcome to another amazing episode of the Kiskapades podcast. I have two amazing guests with me today, and I'll just let them introduce themselves, and then we can, you know the drill. So let's start with you, and then come back to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amelia, and I'm one of the founders of SOMO, which is an entrepreneurship accelerator that works with impact entrepreneurs in low-income areas around Kenya.
And my name is Lillian Oyugi, the proprietor of Yo-Toto Yogurt. And now we have a juice line called Tunda Juicery.
Perfect. So at least you guys have like a rough idea of like who they are and stuff. But most importantly, I'll put the Instagram links, and you can just, do your own research and just find out more about what they're doing. But let's just start with why SOMO is necessary right now in Nairobi, I guess.
Yeah.
It's focused on Nairobi mainly, right?
So Nairobi and Kisumu now in Kenya.
Okay.
And so why SOMO is necessary? We're providing services that are not otherwise accessible in the areas that we work in. Mm-hmm. So as we all know, Nairobi, Kenya is a huge place for startups right now. There's tons of businesses starting. But you'll find that a lot of the social impact businesses starting are not actually being started by people that are coming from the low-income areas that they're trying to affect.
True.
And one of our beliefs is that people know their communities. They know what's needed in their communities. They know the problems that they're facing, that their friends are facing, that their neighbors are facing on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And so those people are in the best position to actually be able to start a business that will successfully solve those issues in their own communities. What we do is then provide the resources that aren't otherwise accessible in those areas. So for our entrepreneurs to access training and long-term training and long-term mentorship and capital to be able to launch and scale their businesses is almost impossible from that initial stage. And so that's where we come in. We provide the resources that are not otherwise accessible to impact entrepreneurs in low-income areas.
And how do you decide, the vetting process? How do you decide who you want to, come in and support?
So it's a long application process. The initial piece of what we provide is a 3-month training. And so that 3-month training teaches basic business skills. It helps you prototype your idea. It helps you carry out market research in the field. It also sets you up with mentors. So both mentors on our training team and mentors who are currently entrepreneurs in our portfolio. So for example, Lillian is a mentor.
Yeah.
And so that goes on for 3 months. To qualify for that program, you first would write a 1-page application, you go through a vetting process, and then we choose a certain number of individuals that we give some basic training on how to write a business plan, and then those individuals get a chance to pitch in front of our team and get their business plan judged by an external judging team. From there, we choose the group that will go through that 3-month training. Okay. And then from there,
as long as you apply, you qualify to come in and start getting trained?
No. So for about every 200 people that apply to our program, we choose about 30 to 40 that are in the finalist round that get that initial training on how to write a basic business plan, which is about 10 hours of training. And then from there, we choose a class of 15. So in Nairobi, we always have 2 classes of 15 going on, one in our Kibera hub and one in our Core Gocho hub in Eastlands. And then in Kisumu, we always have 1 going on. So our first one is just starting now. And then from after those 3 months, then you can apply into our 2-year acceleration program. And during those 2 years, we help you with every other piece of basically trying to start your business. So the initial piece of that is capital to be able to buy the machinery or space that you need to launch. Then we help you with your sales. We help you sell your product through both our physical shop and also online platforms. So our store, but also places like Jumia, we use to sell your products. And then as well, we provide space for you to work out of. So we have our Kibera space and our Core Gocho space that provides free internet and computers to use. And then mentorship and coaching, so both internal to our team, and then we have an advisory team of about 60 individuals in Nairobi that volunteer to work with our businesses.
Okay, so as much as I know, it's you guys are coming in and really making an impact while you're doing that. how's the response like just from the local community?
I'm going
Is
to
it-
pass that question on to Lillian.
Yeah,
How do you
'cause
feel
like
the response
a
from
fast
the
hand,
community is?
Well, I think I believe that the response is positive, given that we are all social entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and everything that we are doing is to elevate the communities that we come from. So, for example, I make yogurt and also juice,
Yeah.
but I say the biggest inspiration actually comes from my children, because as a mother you want
Yeah.
to give your kids nothing but the best. Yeah, but obviously beyond your children, having been born and raised in the Kibera community,
Yeah.
you see a lot of challenges, and one of them being the malnutrition, and that is why I have a lot of bias towards the children, and also pushes my motivation to make yogurt now to produce to the masses with children in mind. And perhaps as we go along, I'll also tell you about the food drive that I do at the schools to provide free or very subsidized yogurt to kids in Kibera.
Listen, let's talk about it because we
Yeah.
can come back. I have my notes here that will guide me.
Yeah.
But tell us about that before I go back to
Yeah,
Amelia.
starting the business, it wasn't really a business. So
Yeah.
like I said, I was doing it for my kids.
Yeah.
And then you'd obviously share it out with friends and neighbors who come.
Are we talking about, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, my apologies. Are you talking about it before they came in or after they came in?
So now I'm talking before they came in.
Perfect.
Before they came in.
Okay.
Because it was just for my family.
Yeah.
But then again, you share it out with a few friends or relatives who come, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I'm like enjoying my yogurt. It's homemade,
Yeah.
so it's natural, no preservatives."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Wow, this is so good." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm doing this for the kids because I really don't want to give them yogurt from the shops or the shelves, because I believe they have a lot of additives or
Yeah.
preservatives."
True.
So they're like, "This is good. You should think about it as a business." So there was a lot of hesitation, in terms of, wow, so how do I make it a business? How do
Yeah.
I even produce in bulk? How do I just organize this as a business?
Yeah.
So, slowly I started selling bits to neighbors and friends, just making some back on the side, nothing really serious. But then SOMO came to Kibera,
Yeah.
and luckily or fortunately, I knew them in good time, and that's why I'm part of the pioneer team. And so I put my idea on paper. First of all, I did an inquiry to understand what SOMO was all about.
Yeah.
And so when they shared that, I put my idea on paper, like a business proposal that I sent out, and also with my social aspect really being strong. I qualified to be one of the people they chose to go through the first boot camp. That is about 3 months. And that is how I became a trainee. I went through the classes. I got trained on record keeping, which is actually very key. Basically just understanding that beyond the passion, this can be a business that can be taken so seriously. Networking, marketing, opening my eyes on how to perhaps see beyond Kibera.
Expanding,
Yeah,
I'm guessing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And just looking at my product, my business as a business that is more premier, and can go outside Kibera. Like I can sell to anybody, be it in Runda, be it also in Kibera, because the product, how you take it in Kibera is how you're gonna take it if you're in Runda. So
Yeah.
the standard is so high.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, at least we have like a backstory from, somebody who's actually, because my question was like just the training process. How is it something that's hard, or because here's the thing, I'm also like an entrepreneur, right? And even what I do content creation and stuff. And for me, the most hardest part, like even what she said, record keeping, I don't think I really keep records at all.
Well,
but you see,
that
such
is
small
something
things.
we have a challenge with everyone when first starting SOMO, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's something that we've found, so we've done a bunch of research also in all the communities we work in to see who's keeping records currently of existing business owners, and what we found is not only are people not keeping records, but someone can't tell you what they spent on something, on like their raw materials, and then what they've made back from those same raw materials.
Yeah.
And so that obviously is a big issue because you don't know if you're even making a profit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So during our 3-month training, we focus a little bit on record keeping, but we really start focusing on it during the acceleration program when it's practical for our entrepreneurs as they're actually launching their businesses. And meanwhile, we also do have a basic business course to work with more basic businesses than would be accepted into our acceleration program. So your average Mama and Boga stand or a Mandazi stand, we have a basic business course, and one key piece of that too is the record keeping piece. So with our record keeping, we use a few different ways of doing it. So the first thing that we teach are just how to track your daily sales.
Yeah.
So we have a few different ways that we've built out using Google Sheets and Google Forms to do that, and we
do
customize
that
that to our entrepreneurs.
I need that training too.
We can get it for you.
I won't lie.
And so we have entrepreneurs that have come into our program who have never touched a computer before. We also have people that are advanced on computers and are programmers. So we have a wide range. But even those that never touched a computer before can fill out all of our sheets by the time that they're in our acceleration program for a couple months. And so from there, that's the initial piece to track their finances and allows us to really see in detail the financial stability of the business at the time. From there, we also have an app that is developed by a partner organization of ours called Anaponda. And our app helps their entrepreneurs both track their goals over time and also see both their financial and their impact data over time. And
Wait,
so
this app is active?
Yeah, so
On
currently
Play
just
Store or-
active for our
like-
entrepreneurs.
okay.
It's just used by SOMO right now, but they are going to be launching to allow other individuals to be able to use it as well.
Okay.
But what it does is it both allows our entrepreneurs to see their data visually. So while I love spreadsheets and I could look at Excel documents all day, most people are not really like that. And so being
That's
able
me.
to see it visually and actually being able to see, is my revenue going up over time or is it going down, is important. And so it allows you to see that visual data. And then as well, it allows you to be the one setting goals. So instead of every month or every quarter, you sitting down with a SOMO team member and then being like, well, we had talked about you getting to this point last quarter and you haven't made it to this, why not? Our entrepreneurs are the ones actually setting their own goals. And so for Lillian, for example, she might set a goal saying that she wants to make $1 million in revenue this next quarter. And then she's able to then, as she goes along the quarter, be tracking that using this goal setting. And at the end of the quarter, see if she's actually made that $1 million or if she hasn't. And then what the app does is it then prompts you if you haven't made your goal, it asks you questions about why haven't you made your goal, and it makes you evaluate as the entrepreneur whether or not you've been successful in getting as far as you wanted to, and if not, how can we then achieve your next goal for your next quarter? And so we do that both with the financial side and for the impact side. So for Lillian, for example, her impact side is focusing on providing healthy yogurt and juices to children and adults, as well as employ women in her community. So.
Okay, so speaking of financing, since you've mentioned it, like how do you decide how much you can invest or just come in and assist?
Yeah, so our initial capital we give is non-repayable capital.
Wait, it's non-repay? You don't have to pay back?
You don't have to pay back.
What?
It's a grant.
So for the entire, if you make it into our acceleration program, we take a 5% stake in your company after those 5 years. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
after those 2 years.
Okay.
After those 2 years, a 5% stake. So for everything that's included in that. So that's the capital, the mentorship, the training, the space, the everything that's included in that.
So 5% you mean equity, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
so that only really means anything if you're raising a round or you're selling your company after
Oh,
you
yeah.
graduate.
Yeah.
If you are just remaining a sole proprietor, it doesn't really mean anything. 'Cause,
Yeah.
we don't know anything.
No, it's just basically there to like assist, like if you need kind of a hand somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm guessing with like.
And it's to long term be stakeholders in our businesses,
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
on both sides we're incentivized to, after the 2 years, we
Yeah.
want to make sure our team and us as SOMO are incentivized to keep working with you.
It's still involved in the project.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and on the entrepreneur side, we wanted them to keep us involved in understanding how their business is doing, so we can keep helping that business. And so that's really where the stake comes in. But the initial capital is up to 185,000 in flexible capital that we provide the businesses with, and about 15,000 that we do in branding and marketing help for the business. So in total, about 200,000. We spend up to 200,000 per business that we spend that enters into our acceleration program, and so that capital is non-repayable at all. We do have lots of requirements with how the capital is used, though. So, for example, we don't usually invest in operational costs. We try to invest in
operational.
So
costs
operational costs are the recurring costs for your business. So
like restocking and all those.
restocking, rent,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh.
Salaries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay.
We don't invest in upfront. We try to invest in things that will last a longer period of time.
Because if your business is in motion, ideally that should start.
It should
like,
take care of the operational costs.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we do push our businesses to be cash flow positive as quickly as possible. While Silicon Valley businesses get the opportunity to not be cash flow positive for years and years and years, our
What does that mean?
That means that they're not making a profit.
That's not just for me, like even the people who are listening,
Yeah.
and some are like maybe like business savvy, and some words they'd want to know like exactly what you mean by that.
So that means that your business is not making a profit for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Our businesses, all besides one, have been profitable within 8 months of starting. And so, and continue to be profitable to this day. So, and that's something that we push our entrepreneurs to be, because in the end, if you're an entrepreneur coming from an informal settlement in Nairobi and you want to be taken seriously, you need to show that you are a profitable business that people can invest in. You're not given the same leeway as a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, and that's the realities we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So we do push our entrepreneurs to be able to get to that point of profitability and grow from there. So with the initial capital that we invest, we try to invest in those capital goods. The other thing we will do is bulk raw material purchases. So, for instance, we work with a reusable a diaper company. With that company, one of the things that they really needed was to buy things in bulk so that they could buy cheaper per unit. We
Okay.
do sometimes make those types of exceptions, even though that would technically be an operational cost. And then from there, once businesses are cash flow positive, so once they're at that profitability point, they have extra cash in the bank. They're able to cover all their operational costs and have extra above that. Then they're eligible to also receive loans. So the initial stage of loans that we do, we now do through the mobile lending company called Tala, currently Tala does mostly small scale loans.
Is that a local company?
It's they're based in the U.S., but they have local operations in Kenya, and Kenya is the first place that they started operating. And so our entrepreneurs get a different part of that platform. So we use Tala's the funders behind the loans and also the technology behind it. But the loans are between 50 and 70,000 Kenya shillings, and those are over 6 months and with 3% interest over those 6 months.
3% is decent.
Yeah. And so those
are they
the
secured,
initial,
unsecured loans?
Unsecured.
Because your business is practically running, so.
Yeah, so we don't secure them as SOMO.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So we don't guarantee them at all.
Okay.
But so that's the initial stage of loans, and then beyond that, if you are a reliable repair, then you're eligible to receive additional loans internally to SOMO as well. So those are right now the 3 stages of the capital we provide.
Okay, perfect. Well, how about let's talk market access, because that was part of my research part. Like, how are you able to access new market? Like,
So-
even like we'll start with you, and then we can come to like
Yeah,
how it
okay.
was like even for your personal experience.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing if it's a business plan, you're ideally like trying to reach to more and more people, because you
Yeah.
increase like your cash flow and everything.
Yeah, and so again, our entrepreneurs know their communities. They know
Yeah.
how to sell in their own communities. So we don't as much try to sell within the communities we work in. Our goal is to try to get our products and services outside as well. Because if you think logically about it, if you're in a low-income community and you're just circulating the same amount of money around,
Yeah.
there's not going to be a rise in living standards in that community. When you're able
Yeah.
to bring money from outside in and provide employment in those areas,
Yeah.
that ultimately rises the living standard is what our hope is. And so we try to sell our entrepreneurs products and services outside their own communities. So that's first in just Nairobi, then Kenya, and internationally. And how
Even
we do that?
internationally,
A little bit internationally. So
Okay.
we're just starting internationally.
we started shipping that yogurt or not yet?
Food
We're working
is a
on
little
it.
harder.
We're working on
We're
it.
working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're
Okay.
gonna get there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I would want to know, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
Go for it.
We'll come back to you. But just how was your experience, like, just in expanding like your market or your numbers from the usual market that you had when you're starting off?
Yeah. So well, I would say it's still a journey
Yeah.
that we are getting there, but just like Amelia has said, we're really passionate to work and provide our services within the communities that we come in, because that's the motivation behind the idea.
Even empowering people around
and
you as well.
empowering the people around.
Yeah.
So just to try and grow the business into sustainability, to profitability, it is important for us also to venture into markets that are outside. And I also want to give credit to SOMO because they organize a lot of forums. They send us a lot of opportunities to allow us to go to seminars that sort of link us to a lot of different people, give in a good word for us, not because we've worked with SOMO, but because they believe in what we are doing, and they have seen that it can actually it's actually needed out there.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been able to go to offices like corporate offices and set up smoothie bars, and like when an organization is having, I don't know, maybe
Team
a
building,
team
conference,
building and stuff like that. I haven't done it so much,
Yeah.
but yes, I have done it through
But it's a start.
It's a start through the opportunities that I've gotten out of SOMO,
Yeah.
and set up a smoothie bar and just give people an amazing juice smoothie experience. And I believe this is an opportunity that if I continue getting more of such exposures,
Yeah.
this would actually help a lot in elevating my business. And through that also I've gone to flea markets, like the Kilimani open markets, and again set up a smoothie bar.
Yeah.
And all people from all walks of life come to my booth and
Yeah.
just get to experience what I do.
Yeah.
And this, given that ordinarily you'd not know me because I'm actually coming out of Kibera, but
Yeah.
when I get out of Kibera and I'm doing it, you'd not even realize.
True.
And
And it's partly like, just it's like superb advertising, like right now. Flea
Yeah.
markets, social media. I don't know how you guys deal with. Do you dwell on social media as well? Because like partly how I make my income mostly is social media. So I don't know how impactful that's to you guys as well. or you prefer like the flea markets? And
So,
because I know it's
SOMO
I know it's
does, and we
advertising.
try to advertise our businesses on social media as much as possible.
Yeah.
For the individual businesses, it depends on the business and how active.
Okay.
So we have at times tried to work directly with our business pages, but ultimately, like, the entrepreneur needs to take over that. So it does depend on the business how active they are on social media themselves. We then try to advertise as SOMO for every business on our social media pages.
Because if you talk about online, because I saw it somewhere about online retail and shipping, I think that's where it comes in. Not unless we're talking about non-perishables.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, and so so for example, flea markets are one, but then what you're saying, the online as well. So Lillian with Yo-Toto is about to be on Uber Eats, so you can actually get yogurt and juices on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, you can take my money anytime if you're on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
That's
hopefully
super.
before end of the week, I should be on Uber Eats.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And
that's
a bunch
impressive.
of our non-perishable products are on Jumia and Sky Garden as well. So you can go on and buy our products on all those platforms. As well, on our own website, we have a shop too that you can purchase all of our products or services.
That's perfect. Interesting. So just back to training, if we can do that, what's your main, what are the key things that you focus on when you're training? I know we've talked about it, but just what are the main ones that you think are super important to just entrepreneurs who are coming up? And also also for you, what information was more useful to you when you were training?
So the three things I'd say are the most important that we're able to do are one, the reporting that we talked about. So without knowing your financials, you don't know if your business is actually working. It's impossible to run your business, evaluate how you're doing, get investment if you don't know your financials. And so that's one of the key things that we do with training are the financial side. The next is pitching, and that is how you communicate your story to lots of different groups of people. So whether that's selling your product to a potential customer or talking to a potential partner or investor, you need to know how to tell your story. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs that come into our program initially and are shy or aren't open to share their story. And so we work on that over a long period of time with training and our acceleration program to get people comfortable talking about who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Because ultimately, no one really cares about your product at the end of the day if you can't tell a good story about it.
You have to be able to sell it.
You have to be able to sell it. And so how we do that during training is the first stage is being able to do it in front of your class. So you're in a class of other individuals starting businesses and being able to get up and actually tell your story in front of them and our trainers. Then we bring in a group of our advisors, both halfway through training and at the end of training, so that you can pitch your business in front of them. And so you're giving a full pitch at that point. You're having a prototype to share with them. And these are individuals that you've never met before that might be CEOs of companies or investors. And you're having to get up in front of them and communicate what you do well. And what's really amazing to see for me, because I'm not always in every single day of training, is being able to see that first day when someone's pitching in front of their own class, and then seeing 6 weeks in them trying to pitch in front of this group of investors, and then after 12 weeks, how much someone has already grown in that ability to share what they do with confidence. And then lastly, if you're in our acceleration program, we also provide other forums. So we often have pitch competitions at places like Meta is a partner of ours, and we will do pitch competitions at Meta where entrepreneurs get up in front of a larger crowd of people and talk about what they do and why people should invest in their business. So those two, and the last one is the prototyping bit. So actually being able to work out what your business looks like and what your product or service looks like, and testing that with your potential customers. So everything we do is based on actual field research. We don't just teach something in the classroom, you go home, you come to the next class, and you're learning all these theories, and then after 12 weeks you go out and we're like, oh yeah, you should go be able to launch your business now.
Yeah.
That's not practical.
Yeah.
So we have our entrepreneurs actually go out and talk to potential customers and share what their prototype is. So for instance, we work with a peanut butter company. Rose would make a jar of peanut butter during training and actually go out and have potential customers test it, give her feedback, talk about the price with them, bring that feedback back to class and be able to evaluate that in a discussion with her other trainees.
You know, it's so interesting because some of these little things, you don't really pay attention to them. I don't know about you, but like even for me, there's some things that I never used to pay attention to until you start doing your own business. Then you realize, I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this. And that's why it brings me to you, like what information didn't you know before the training, and just after the training or during the training you realize like, oh, this is something that I really needed to have, or I really needed to know?
I'll talk about two things. Like one, entrepreneurship I would say is passion driven, but it's equally hard. So most of us ride on the fact that I'm passionate about it, and you sort of just forget about everything.
Very true.
Like Amelia has said, I think proper record keeping is key in any business. You know, because for me, as a person who's passionate about what I do, as long as I make 10 or 20 sales, I'm thinking I'm in business. Or even 50 sales, I'm thinking I'm in business. Because there's nothing on paper to sort of show me this is the costing, this is how much the product actually costs in terms of producing it. And after selling, this is the profit, or this is the income I'm getting out of it. So if you're not able to track all this, put them down and be able to like minus, then you'd be at the end of the day, you're having money and you're thinking, wow, it was a good day. But if you can't really tell that I spent 10 and I got 8,
you can actually confuse it at times. Like for me, you can actually confuse it and forget about production cost and count it as profit. That's happened to me plenty of times.
And most of us do it all the time. And that is why I give credit to the training that I received at SOMO, because it sort of grounded me. And even though they push us a lot, but when you're sitting down as an entrepreneur, you're thinking they're actually pushing you to do that is right for your business.
Something that's beneficial to you.
Exactly. Just to me, because at the end of the day, you also need to encourage and inspire someone else. But then the passion put aside, you need to tell them the importance of just having your records right, and not just to tell the costing or how much money you're making, but as a business that is looking into growing, you'd need partners, you'd need external funding. What records do you have in place to just show somebody that I have been in operation for 1 year, I have been in operation for 2 months, and this is how my books look like, because this will this will speak for you when you're looking for external funding, you're looking for equity capital, you're able to share that and they'll be like, wow, the business is quite promising, so this is how we can work out. But if you don't have these records to show for it, then really you've been doing nothing. And this is where most of us as entrepreneurs, we even give up. We actually give up and we're like, it's not working, and then you want to hope onto a different passion. It doesn't work like that. And also, Amelia talked about going out, meeting your potential customer. As a person, again, who's passionate about what they're doing, you'd think that this is how I love my tea, and my kids have tried it and they love it. They think it's awesome. But you tend to forget, if you're not actually doing it now for you.
It's for other people.
You're doing it for other people. And it is important to go out there, interact with them, share, give out samples for them to try out the product. They give you feedback like, wow, this is good, or maybe this is what you need to improve on. Also in terms of pricing, and I've seen larger companies do that too. Like, just ask questions like, what would you think? Would you buy it if it was being sold at this much? the packaging, really just get to understand so that when you're putting the product out there, you're actually putting it out to serve the consumers that you made it for.
You've put that into consideration.
Yes.
At least the customers telling you like, we don't like how this looks, how it tastes. And even if you think about it, if you're asking your kids will probably tell you what you want to hear, because they're like, we don't want to say anything that will upset mama. So so that's very interesting. And just coming from you, I can tell like okay, you've said how many other people have you like just come in and like actually assisted in this program so far?
So right now,
because I know she's doing the yogurt and juice, right?
Yeah.
How many other?
Yeah, so we've now graduated 130 from our training program.
What?
So that's the 3 months training program.
Okay.
And then we have 44 businesses currently in our portfolio. And
over
then
the 2-year period?
And then another group going through judging right now of who will enter our acceleration program. So so right now it's 44 out of the 130 that have made it into those 2 years. But we'll have another group being announced in a couple weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So should we talk about like just the impact that it's bringing to the community?
Yeah. So, I mean, so right now I can talk a little bit about kind of what our reach is. So we just launched in Kisumu, so most of our impact is still focused on Nairobi. And we work across 8 different communities right now in Nairobi. We have locations in 2 of them, and then bring entrepreneurs from the other 6 into those 2 hubs to do trainings and advisory work. And so, as I was saying, we work with 44 businesses that are going through that 2 years, and those businesses right now are providing employment to over 200 individuals across those communities. So a lot of our businesses focus on providing employment to single mothers or youth as well in those communities, really focused on demographics that otherwise would have low rates of employment opportunities in those areas. And then in terms of the products they've sold, our businesses have now reached over 145,000 clients. And so those clients go as from Nairobi to Mombasa to Europe, the US. So really all over the world, our entrepreneurs have now reached with their businesses.
And that's once now that brings back record keeping. Because that's the only way you can be able to tell like that all this is happening. How about like just for you in general, what have you noticed like just from around your community? What have you noticed that's different from even just from a personal point of view? What has changed?
I think if I'm to speak about my business, I would say people have really been positive about my products because what I'm selling to them, what I'm sharing with them is quality, and they have really been positive about it. And the fact that when they come to buy from my shop, I actually tell them what goes into what they're taking, and some of them are able to see through the process how I'm making, because especially for the juices, I like giving my customers the opportunities just to see what actually goes into their drink, because I'm telling them that I'm actually juicing for health, because I know I discourage, even with a gun on my head, I would not put any preservatives or any additives into the drink, because I believe the world that we live in right now, we are faced with a lot of challenges because of what we are eating. Because
we all know, we've just seen it in the news, so we can't talk about so much, but like, even in the recent news covers, you see like it's so important to also just know what you're actually putting in your body.
So based on that, I get a lot of encouragement, like what I'm doing is so good, this is coming from them, and they're like, just keep doing it. And also when I go to the schools where when I get support through the networks that I've made out of SOMO to provide free yogurt to schools, and I think we've actually done it with about 3,000 kids, because I get friends who support my my program, what I do, and my passion for nutrition to young kids, and then they get to buy a whole school, supply them with yogurt for a whole day. And I have done that with a couple of schools. So the schools have also been very appreciative of what I'm doing, and just encouraging me more to look for such partners, because we have also tried to like have parents pay for the yogurt, but really, not that they don't want, they really want it and they love it and they appreciate, but given their economic empowerment, sometimes it is not sustainable. It's like a necessity that becomes a luxury. And
True.
so, they look up to me to try and get out there, get people to be able to do that. But so far, I would say I have my community's support, and if I can just continue working hard where I am right now, because I said my shop right now is in Yaya, where I believe I can get a more premium market, people who would pay the full value of my product and allow me to get into profitability and sell my products back home at a very subsidized fee for them to be able to afford.
Yeah, and even I think from just having a shop there, like if somebody might come and test that product like one day and decide like, you know what, we want to be picking like, 1,000 kind of packs, or however you pack them. How do you pack them, in bottles or?
So I pack them, in like ready to drink 250 ml bottles, 300, 500 ml, and I also have 1 liters.
Are they branded?
Yeah, they're branded.
You know what would have been good today?
I know. I should
have you realized? Have you realized?
Have you realized? I should have brought.
Because the whole time we'd have had them like over here when we're talking.
Oh my goodness.
So that's part of marketing. Marketing tips. The next time it's a video interview, just make sure like you grab that opportunity, and if we're talking to people, they actually kind of
really
see the product.
They really need to interact with the product.
Yeah, but you know, that's very interesting just to know like how you feel about it, and just like your community, people around you, friends, relatives, like how they feel about your business. And a lot of people gravitate towards like somebody who's actually paying attention or just putting in work in what they're doing. Yeah. So I must commend you on that. But I'll do my own research like on just your products and a lot of that.
And you should come by Yaya or come by Kibera.
Trust me. Yeah. Trust me. I'll be there. Yeah. So let's talk about.
She's the one who keeps me healthy too.
I mean, I'm getting into more the whole sustainable fashion and healthy eating and all those things.
Well, SOMO products are where you're at then. Sustainable fashion, sustainable healthy food. Yeah. We have all of it.
No, I'll be in touch. That's for sure. You're not getting rid of me anytime soon. And then just from my own research as well, just what's your base right now? Like if people need to contact you or come to your offices and just have like a one-on-one conversation with you guys, where do they? Yeah,
so our offices are in Kibera in Olympic, just right off of Kibera Drive. Mm-hmm. So if you come that way, you can just walk into our office anytime. We're right next to the Chiefs camp and very easily accessible there. In our other office is in Corogocho, so if you know Corogocho Market, we're right in the middle of the Corogocho Market at the CDF offices there. So really easy to get to both of our facilities. Yeah. Depending on which side of town you're in. Otherwise, you can also email us at contact@the-SOMO project at somoafrica.org, or you can call us on our office phone. So that's 0798985151.
I'll make sure I just write it down below as well for people who can't like catch it immediately. Yeah. I'll just make sure I put all the info there. And then like what's the, because I just want us to summarize probably the interview, because I think we've talked about like almost everything. If there's anything I have missed, please tell me right now, because I just want to squeeze as much information as I can from you guys. Is there anything else that you have going on that I should probably my audience just
so I think just mainly of just talking about kind of the reach of different businesses that we work with, because we've only mentioned a few, but we work across a lot of different sectors. So we work with everything from agricultural businesses. We have a hydroponics business that has developed small scale hydroponics farms across informal settlements. So it's called Verix.
My apologies, just because
Oh, sorry,
I don't know.
Verix,
I don't know
hydroponics.
much about like marketing. So as you're naming them, like, but what I don't know, I can just ask.
Yeah,
you, like,
definitely.
just
So
expand
hydroponics is a form of farming where you use very little water
Yeah.
and you use stones that are able to cut down on water use and also space that you need to use.
it. Is possible in Kenya?
Yeah, and it's really great for urban farming, especially. It's especially great when you have one, not enough water access, and
Yeah.
two, you have land that might be polluted, and so you don't use the actual land underneath it to grow the produce. And so they've developed small-scale hydroponic systems across Kangemi, Karangwari, and Kibera now. And then we work.
So the other businesses, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So these are some of the businesses we work with. And then when you were saying with sustainable fashion, so we work with, for example, a business that makes shoes out of recycled fabric, and we have another business that makes different accessories out of recycled fabric. So we have those types of businesses. We have training institutes, like a journalism training school and a programming school, and then food production. So mentioned the peanut butter before, but also honey and some other ones. So if you're a business an entrepreneur who wants to start a business in your own community and you come from a low-income area around Nairobi or Kisumu right now, definitely reach out and apply. You can also just apply through our website. So we define social impact as touching a health, educational, or environmental need in your community. So if you fit into any of those, definitely apply.
Contact them. Make sure you contact them. And then just before we finish up, what's the long-term plan?
So the long-term plan is to first expand this around Kenya. So our second location is Kisumu right now, but then we have plans to expand to other larger urban centers in Kenya, and then our plan is to do it across the continent. So we really want to provide opportunities to anyone who wants to start a business coming from a low-income urban area who has an idea of how they want to change their own community, and we are able to come in and provide the resources that are not otherwise accessible to that individual. So whenever we can do that and wherever we can do that, our plan is to do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So now I also, just before I finish, I keep saying this, where can people just test your products and all that stuff?
So right now I'm located in Yaya, just right opposite AdLife Plaza.
Okay.
It's a new mall. It's called Mall 66. The signage is not out yet, but right opposite Yaya, I'm on block D10. You can come there. We open at 8 and close at around 7. So yeah, that's where I am. And I would just like to encourage all of us that we support upcoming entrepreneurs. Let's believe in them. Let's support them to elevate them to perhaps bigger standards, to allow them also realize their full potential and also lift other people. And perhaps for somebody who's watching me right now, I just want to tell them that entrepreneurship is passion driven, but also you really have to be very resilient in terms of your expectations. Be very patient, hardworking, but again, I would tell you, money should not be a stumbling block. I didn't have anything. I just had a dream, and things kept falling into place. So all it takes is just self-belief and, just go for it. Don't be so wanting to make your money. I mean, on paper, it's so different. You can clearly see your financial projections, how I'm going to get to my million in the next 6 months. It's never the same on real life. So just be patient and just work hard. It's gonna work out.
And if you think about it, I think from just Nairobi and just even from my friends around growing up and everything, the one thing that I noticed, and even now, it's when you think of a business, we're always thinking of the first thing that comes in mind, how am I going to raise all this money? Let me wait till I get all this money so that I can actually start a business. And you keep buying time, but you still never are able to start off with all that amount of money that you actually wanted.
True.
When you can just have an idea, pitch it, and that's how like even small companies like, you know, even Uber, Facebook, they all just started with like startups.
Even KFC.
KFC,
like it was a
pitch.
door-to-door thing.
Yeah.
Like just try out my recipe.
Yeah.
He got a lot of rejections.
Yeah.
But because there was that self-belief, he never gave up. But you know, again, it's not about like I'm young, time is running out. He made it when he was old.
Oh yeah, that
And
KFC
he left
story.
an empire. You know, like most of the success stories that you get to hear, there are people who've tried with their businesses over even 20 years, and their breakthrough came when they were like adults, like when they were supposed to even give up and do something else. But you know, they held on to their vision, because it's not happening, but I can clearly see it. So I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna be patient, it's gonna work out. And that is where I am actually.
That's perfect, and it's always good to hear that. And don't forget, you can always pitch your idea. You just never know. Just pitch your idea out there, and of course, most importantly, to SOMO as well.
Yeah.
And what Lillian said, just start and don't be scared of failure.
No.
That's part of being an entrepreneur. So you're going to fail many hundreds of times before you succeed, and keep going.
Yeah, there's no overnight like success apart from lottery, and it never ends well anyway.
It never ends.
For most people, that's not an overnight success. So definitely don't go that route. Start a business instead of going for the lottery.
Yeah. So I mean, is there anywhere else that, you know, I've forgotten to mention where people can find like your information and contact you guys?
So on August 17th, we're also having a day at the Alchemist where SOMO and our entrepreneurs will be sharing what we do. So you should definitely come through. It's going to be between 10 and 3 on Saturday, August 17th. So if you want to see what we do, connect with us and meet all of our entrepreneurs and hear their stories and get to see their products, you should come on through that day.
Perfect, guys. So there you had it. You had it from, like, you know, the people top notch from SOMO. You're also part of SOMO, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean,
Lillian's participated in our team trainings before. Lillian is like fully part of SOMO.
Yeah. So guys, you've been listening to the team from SOMO, and you know, just those little informations that, you know, you might miss out on as, you know, entrepreneurs or something, or somebody who's trying to like be on the come up. I mean, you've heard it from them, and if you need more info, make sure you contact them. It's the Kiskapage podcast, another amazing episode, and thank you so much, guys, for coming through.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Castbox. We drop new episodes every week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's the Kiskapage podcast.